At an office on the outskirts of Bath after hours, it's time for the cleaners. But these are unusual cleaners. Kirsty and Fiona Innes are both ex-secondary school teachers who left the profession 2 years ago to move into business.
We clean offices and shops and sports centres and things like that. And we also offer a recycling scheme as well for offices and workspaces. And we put in place energy efficient power and
basically we do anything. If a company wants to become carbon neutral, then we, they call us and we get it organised for them.
The Innes sisters are symptomatic of a long-running problem for the teaching profession. In the year to March 2005, it's thought 19,000 full-time teachers left schools in England alone. Losing dedicated teachers is a waste of talent and resources.
I went in with the idea of I really did want to make a difference.
It was the sense of security that teaching gives you. It is a profession that you have for the rest of your life. And be it you want to leave for a while, as women we decide to have children, whatever, you can always go back to it. There's always money to be made.
But increasingly, the national curriculum and teaching guidelines restricted their freedom.
And when we started, already directives and guidelines were in place, but once that classroom door was shut, you could teach that in whichever way you wanted. But by the time we left, that wasn't the case at all.
Also, as time went on as well, the senior management were so pushed. They are really, really pushed. I mean, they've got to tick every box. And one of the downsides of that for us as regular teachers is that we didn't have the support there. As
much as they wanted to give it.
As much as they wanted to give it, absolutely. And there were a few occasions whereby you needed your senior management there regarding maybe fights or a parental issue or something like that. And the support was not there to help you. As time went on, just thought this job in teaching is just not suiting my personality, and I know that Kirsty felt the same. Thus, the perfect opportunity arose to leave and start up on our own.
So 2 more teachers were added to the long list of those leaving the profession. Teacher retention was a real concern at Robert Clack School in Dagenham, and was a problem that Paul Grant, the head of humanities there, had to tackle when he was promoted to head teacher of what was seen as a failing school.
The attainment is on public record. The attainment at the time in 1996 was 17% of the children got the national standard of 5A to C. A quarter of the children were leaving without any qualifications at all. And I witnessed that alienation, disaffection each day. It manifested itself in appalling behaviour, quite frankly. The fire alarm going off, abusive behaviour, truancy, children coming in and out of the premises, and poor staff morale, poor teacher retention.
Encore deux, merci monsieur. Tuer. Oh la la, quel désastre.
Cliff Carder is a French teacher at the school and one of Robert Clack's longest-serving staff. But if it hadn't been for Paul Grant, he could be long gone. He was dismayed by the lack of support for teachers who tried to discipline pupils.
If a teacher was given a detention and the child wouldn't turn up, it didn't really get much backing from the heads of year, the senior staff. Staff morale went down because they felt they weren't getting the backing, and that caused a bit of an evacuation of the staff. Experienced teachers weren't happy, so they were going elsewhere. I was one of the teachers that was seriously thinking of going.
I spoke to virtually every member of staff, and I remember saying, I'm only going to concentrate on one thing in the short term, your morale. That's all I'm going to concentrate on.
Darryl? Sorry, sir. Thank you. Thanks for your cooperation.
The big thing I said was, I would take all of the personal attacks on instilling discipline and a new behaviour code into the school. I would be consistent in implementing that code because I knew I was going to reap a whirlwind.
The initial result was indeed a whirlwind of exclusions. Within a fortnight, up to 300 pupils had been excluded. And the head consistently supported the staff.
Quickly. You do your shirt, please, young man.
It was a big, nasty broom he came in with, but it swept a lot of the problems away very, very efficiently over quite a short period of time, really. Hard at first, but then maintained.
Settle down. Settle down, please, Paige.
Morale, I think, went up because we were working together as a team. They were getting backing, they were getting support, and also they were getting feedback from the children about how much the children were actually enjoying a relationship that had hitherto been poisoned, perhaps, by that atmosphere.
The result over the last 10 years has been a transformation in staff retention that's gone hand in hand with a transformation in pupil attainment.
Okay, who can start me off? I want to get a full sentence across there.
Je faisais
Merci.
trop hyper.
Okay, excellent. I think teaching is possibly the worst job in the world if you have problems with children. Put your hands up if you think I'm a quality teacher. But the school ethos now is so good. It's a calm atmosphere, it's a relaxed atmosphere, the students are happy, the staff are happy, you know, and it means the world to me. Au revoir à la classe. Okay, merci.
Establishing good behaviour was just the start of the Robert Clack drive to retain good staff. Since the early days of his tenure, the head has introduced a raft of policies that encourage staff to join and remain at the school. Take Phil Ackerman. He arrived at the school 5 years ago.
Found it to be a really thriving environment to learn how to be a teacher. And as a result of that, after my first placement, I was offered the opportunity to come for an interview, and I jumped at that, and I've been at Robert Clack ever since.
We're going to collect the oxygen, which is going to bubble along this tube, underneath, and bubble up here. All right? And when the water level gets down to the bottom line, which is 50, you're going to stop your timer, and you're going to record that in your table on your worksheet. Right, you see it fizzing, that's the oxygen. I've got to be as quick as I can.
Phil was fresh out of his NQT year when Paul Grant asked him to apply for the head of department role.
I'm a great believer, you know, that if you're ready and you've got potential and you can do it, to me, if you're 23, 24, 25, 26, it becomes irrelevant from my point of view. I was absolutely convinced that he had it. Absolutely convinced.
I was quite shocked, but there was something about the levels of support that I'd had up to that point that thought, you know what, if he's asking me to do this, I can probably make a go of it. It certainly fitted in with my passions of wanting to shape science education and making it more interesting and more engaging, so I thought I'd have more influence if I took the role.
Got one result in, chaps? Excellent.
It's a conscious policy to reward very good people, and it's exciting for other young staff to see that actually, you know, there's no glass ceiling, that actually, you know, this school, it isn't about dead men's shoes, it isn't about jobs for the boys, it's about talent, and it's about taking opportunities when they arise.
And I've been thinking about science as I do, because it's really important to me.
The result? One happy teacher far less likely to leave the profession. A teacher who sees that he can go as far as his enthusiasm and experience will take him. Elaine Wilson trains science teachers like Phil Ackerman. She's seen many fall by the wayside.
A lot of the people I was training were giving up within their first 5 years. So I wanted to find out why that was, and that's how I came to do a bit of research in the area. I did a big survey of the 400 or so people who had been through the course, and I had about a 60% response rate from that group. And of that, I found that there were probably somewhere in the region of 40% of them had given up within their first 3 years of teaching.
Elaine Wilson's students cited workload and stress as the main things driving them out of the profession. But she wasn't convinced.
I thought that was really, those were really excuses for something that was much deeper, because they knew exactly what the workload was like before they started, because they had been in schools for their whole training. I work here with a clinical psychologist, Roland Chaplin, and he carried out a big survey looking at the whole idea of general happiness scale, which is an instrument that clinical psychologists use. The 3 reasons that Roland came up on were the whole business about managing big classes, the business of not having enough support in school came through, and the children's behaviour.
Elaine then went a step further. As well as highlighting the negatives, she focused on schools where things were going right, where teachers were happy.
It's the whole idea of feeling competent about your job, feeling that you're actually good at what you do. If you don't feel that you're good at what you do, then you lose heart. The whole idea of feelings collegial, part of a collegial environment, part of a supported environment where you feel part of a team is really important too. And thirdly, feeling that you actually have some control over your own work, having autonomy is really important. And where those 3 things are in place, I found that people were actually really able to carry on, because those 3 things actually enable you to build up a thick skin, if you like.
These factors are just as applicable to the primary sector. Corsham Primary School in Wiltshire is a good example. The head, Fiona Allen, has a forward-thinking policy on how she treats her staff.
Primarily, we want teachers who are committed to working with the children and making a difference. So we're looking for teachers who want to constantly grow, and we also want to be providing the opportunities to those teachers to develop as a teacher, but also as an individual.
She's been very keen to establish a formal and informal system of support for new teachers.
All our young teachers have a mentor, but we've added in a buddy. So those are the people that will make sure that socially those people are settled in school, will check out that everything's okay, take an interest in their personal life as well as their professional life.
Can you remember all those key ingredients that go into instructions, all those things that Miss Markey needs to throw into her mixing bowl?
One of the young teachers who's prospered at Corsham is Kate Markey. She's in her 2nd year of teaching.
Miss Markey is going to be making a jam sandwich.
I think it's really, really important to have a staff that's supportive when you start, definitely, because you do feel that sometimes you look around and everybody's got everything sorted and you feel like you're floundering a bit and kind of the workload's piling up, and it's really nice to be able to go and in the staff room here talk to anybody.
So, brilliant. Up behind your chairs then, let's show these guys what we do in the mornings.
Kate's taken on a wider role at Corsham. She's joint PE coordinator and is shaping school policy in this area. It's retaining her enthusiasm for teaching.
It lets you know that you're doing a good job, that the leadership and the powers that be actually do trust you, and they're respecting what you're doing in your classroom, and they're also giving the opportunity to shine in new areas.
Superstars. Right then, brilliant, ready to do some learning.
So young staff are given opportunities to advance quickly. Helen Bealby is only in her 4th year of teaching, but she's already on the school's management team.
Can I see thumbs? I want to know who was feeling good, who was feeling a bit like that, and who's feeling, okay, I really don't get this at all.
Well, I think Corsham Primary is a very innovative school, so there's a lot of new ideas coming out. There's a lot of fantastic learning going on, and the children really enjoy it here, so it's great.
She's a key figure in developing and assessing the school's mentoring systems.